Cuyahoga County Jail dealing with infected inmates behind bars tonight. Today, the county announced 6 inmates tested positive for COVID-19. 2 others from the same housing unit also suspected of having the virus. 5 on your side investigator Scott Knoll has new information tonight from outside the Justice Center.
County leaders say they've been preparing for an outbreak of COVID-19 here at the jail for weeks, insisting now that the virus is inside the walls, they're ready, even as these new cases bring justice here at the Justice Center to a standstill. County leaders say the sick inmates began showing symptoms Thursday evening.
Our team immediately implemented placing surgical masks on those individuals and getting them into an isolation space where we could initiate evaluations and testing.
Late last night, those tests came back. 6 inmates positive, 2 more from the same pod suspected of having COVID-19. The county says all have been locked up since at least February.
So there's no way these 6 inmates brought this COVID-19 into the jail.
So how did it get in? The county says for weeks it screened all new inmates for symptoms before they're booked. A jailers union rep says at least 30 workers were sent home and told to isolate after failing screenings when they showed up for work in recent weeks. And in-person visitation here shut down last month to prevent the spread of the virus.
COVID-19 is everywhere. It's everywhere. It's impossible to totally escape this terrible disease.
The sheriff not saying which of the jail's housing units is affected. But today, court proceedings canceled to limit inmate movement in the Justice Center as medical teams try to trace how many of the 1,000 inmates and 700 jail staffers had close contact with those infected.
I don't know about any of the corrections officers as of yet. We've taken precautions with them. Some of them have been identified that may have had contact with the individuals that we're talking about. We're dealing with that aspect of it as well.
It comes just one day after the county delivered 10,000 additional masks and 30,000 more gloves to the jail. A union rep says jailers asked the county to negotiate hazard pay for workers inside the facility. When asked about what he'd say to those with friends and family locked up, Cleveland's police chief had this message today.
The county is probably doing their best to make sure that there are no more infections in the jail.
Despite all of this, the sheriff says the jail is continuing to take new inmates if they're charged with serious crimes. In Cleveland, I'm 5 on your side investigator Scott Knoll.